evening, everyone, and welcome to the webinar series brought to you by Career Beacon, where we are discussing the challenges the teachers are facing and how they are managing the institutional expectation, that parent and teachers' expectation. And this is basically the outcome of our interaction with the principals, educators. For over a period of time on new education policy, we had the series previous to this, and there were many teachers who came forward and they said we need to discuss the burnout issues that teachers are having, the kind of unknown territory, the landscape of online teaching. The corona has pushed the whole teaching fraternity into it, the students. So we need to highlight the challenges, the way forward, and discuss the best practices from each and every teacher, schools, so that as a whole teacher community or educator community, we can benefit from each other. We can learn from each other. This is the first collaboratives, we need to practice so that we can transfer that to our students. That's with that motive we bring the today's session. We have two teachers with us, Ms. Sreshthita and Mr. Sumesh, and Sunanda will be in conversation with them. So before we invite the teacher and Sunanda, I like to introduce you to Sunanda. Sunanda, she is a key driver for concept uh, that is into career mentoring, future of work. She is into reconfigurable mentorship teams. She is a certified POSCO trainer. She is doing the training on and managing performance for project-based resources for various educational institutions and corporates. As far as her education goes, she has done honors degree in zoology. Then she moved to postgraduate degree in human resource management, and she is certified in various psychometric tools and she's a digital content writer. She focuses on psychometric and mind mapping tool to offer assistance to students to realize their fullest potential and build a sustainable career plan, and focusing on long term career success. And she always say about the happy careers. Yes, we all need to be happy in whatever we do. And she has also helped, and you know uh, she is, yes, veteran in HR, so she brings with her effective resume writing and prepares for interview for the fresh graduates and postgraduates. Her greatest achievement recently in 2019, she was awarded Indian Icon Award for mentoring the students. And she is a regular columnist with Amar Ujala national newspaper, where she is mentoring students and guiding them to follow the right path uh, through mind mapping, skill set that is required. With all that, she can help. And with that, I welcome Sunanda to please drive today's session.
Thank you so much. All the viewers, good afternoon, good evening, and I hope all of you are doing really safe at this moment of time. And my salute to all the teaching fraternity, because you guys are the front warriors. You are no less than the soldiers who are on the border, or the nurses and the teachers who are curing, and you're helping the patients to recover from this pandemic. Well, we have today two eminent educationists who are joining us among the 33 educators who have agreed for this webinar series. This webinar series is an outcome of a continuous teaching and the learning process that is happening through our webinars. And we are really happy that the speakers, they voice out, they feel free to share that yes, we would like to speak on some forums. There are some of the speakers who are the first time speakers in our forum, and believe me, at times they say, okay, we are in front of our camera, we are first time we are talking, we don't know how are we going to do, but they are so comfortable when they come in front of the discussion forum, because the kind of question answers that we put, that actually opens up this thing. So we salute to the 33 educators who actually agreed to be a part of this webinar series, wherein we are discussing a very important topic, that the role of teachers in managing the expectation of the institutions and the students during this unprecedented situation. we the reason why we have actually curated this program is the objective is to address 20 classroom challenges that educators have seen during this pandemic. And these 20 challenges are actually the challenges to retain the teachers as well as to enhance the success rate of the students so that timely and ultimate quality of education can be provided. All these 20 classroom challenges have been actually put into the four pillars, which are very big challenges. That is, first is educating the citizens in the interconnected world, redefining the role of educator, teaching the skills needed for the future, and unlocking the technology. We are on day 8, and a session before starting this session, we had two beautiful teachers. One was from the Gujarat, and another one was from Gurugram, Suman Mittal and Varnika Singh, who have shared their perspective as a teaching fraternity that what exactly are the challenges and what are they going to do to overcome. Now we enter with the another set of eminent speakers who are none less than who are the academic heads as well as the academic coordinators in their respective schools. They have 2 decades of experience, and we are going to talk to each of them on an alphabetical manner. So, Sreshthita ma'am, you'll have to excuse me here when we are doing alphabetically. I'll have to go with Mr. Sumesh first, then with you. So, Mr. Sumesh Chandra Misra is the academic coordinator for the Mann School, which is one of the best boarding schools in India, which has been accoladed by many of the things. And Mr. Sumesh brings 20 years of experience and he teaches one of the toughest topic, that is history. He is a postgraduate in history, economics. He has done his PGDM in HR. And as I said, he is the coordinator academics. He has served as an housemaster also, wherein he has ensured that 30 young boys are mentored, framed, and are disciplined and are bagging year after year the best degrees and the educational thing along with the overall development of the students. He believes that the greatest challenge on the online thing is the technical difficulties with the online teaching tools. Second, what he feels that one of the takeaway that people will have during his session is embracing the new online tools will be the free up so that the teachers can have the more free time or to have productive time and mentor the students and students get investing into their learning practices. So welcome Mr. Sumesh Mishra. And with this, I would like to welcome Ms. Sreshthita Chanda. She is from a beautiful Kutch, wherein Mundra port, which is that there are three ports, one of the biggest head for the logistics and the supply chain industry. She is the academic head for Calorx Public School Mundra. She teaches pol science and English. She is in charge for the secondary level school. She has done her English in MA in English, Public Administration, and she has also done B.Ed. Like Mr. Sumesh has also done, B.Ed. And she's having 14 years of experience in the teaching and the administrative services. Thing. She is a bishop in Kathak, and she feels that upliftment of the students and the knowledge in different categories matters a lot. When we asked about the greatest challenge, that she said, as we are making infinite efforts to connect with the student, still there are some of the loopholes are there, and maybe in the process of time that can be overcome. And what is the single most takeaway that people are going to get is where the concept of the subject can be blended with the conceptualization and subjugate topic, like combining English with socio-economic situation, combination of scientific, outlook with the out-of-box thinking, will be the major takeaway. So with this, I welcome both Mr. Sumesh and Sreshthita to the website, webinar series, and I would like you to set the context of this session. So I'll go with first with Mr. Sumesh, followed by Sreshthita.
Good evening, everyone, all the viewers, teachers, and whoever are visualizing right now.
Have we lost your voice, sir?
Last week, where I've seen around 30 plus odd, educators putting up their views on this particular issue, and I hope that the takeaway from all these sessions will definitely going to help all the teachers to cope up with these issues. And once again, a big thanks to Career Beacon team to do this commendable job. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sreshthita, your words of wisdom, please.
It's a belief that I strongly prejudice, along with Tagore's words, that the teacher can never truly teach unless he is still learning himself. A lamp can never light another lamp unless it continues to burn its own flame. A teacher who has come to the end of a subject, who has no living traffic with his knowledge but merely repeats his lesson to his students, can only load their minds. He cannot quicken them. So I believe, being an educationist, a mentor, I believe in an innovation, assimilating richness of culture and goodness of educative methods with new adapts. So thank you very much, Sunadna ma'am. Thank you so much for giving me this particular platform. Let us go in for a nice discussion. Hope that certain true things will turn up, and definitely some, whichever the loopholes are being there, that can be managed.
Very well said, both of you. You are having such a positive outlook. I'm sure this discussion is going to be very productive. And Kavita is there to keep a tab of the time. So, Kavita, please ensure that you're keeping a tight of time. Well, Mr. Mishra, you mentioned that unlocking technology to deliver education would be the forte where you would like to address some of the questions. Now, the first question is, there is a lack of sufficient continuous professional development for the teachers to integrate new technology. This is what you mentioned as a challenge also, but they are unable to prepare and understand these technology. Are you among one of them, or if you were one of them, how have you ensured that you're curbing up this? Mr. Mishra?
Yeah, sorry, actually, I was muted.
No
So,
problem.
answer this question. Actually, I would go along with two examples which I have recently gone through. One is like it's from one of the village in Tamil Nadu. The lady is Swamathi, and this lady actually has to walk around 17 kilometer from her remote village area to a place where she could assess good internet connectivity so that she can record a video and then later on upload on YouTube so that the children or the student whom she is tackling can actually get some access to some education. And then she comes back, and then after finishing her everyday's course, she puts up some text messages through her mobile to the children who even do not get internet connectivity in their area. So showing the skill of a lady belonging to a remote area, and then coming to the urban area like Delhi and big towns, we find that the schools over here, they already have this digital classrooms already existing and all the digital help already existing. So the transformation for the teachers was not that much difficult, and it took I remember like on 22 of March, 23 of March, it was finalized, and by 1st of April the school started to take online classes. So it was not that much difficult for the teachers in the urban areas to switch over to online classes or remote classes, revealing the fact that if you are willing, I mean, if you have the capacity to switch over, to adopt, you can be anywhere, you can adopt, and you can put up the extra effort. Apart from that, if you find out the initiatives led by the government of India, even the schools and even private organizations like NGOs, they are all coming up to help the kids, to help the teachers, those who could not access to the devices. I came across to an organization which is called Digital Dan. What actually it is doing is it's collecting all the depleted and outdated devices, digital devices, smartphones, and then making it available to the students at the remote village area. So that actually adding up to the statement that if you are willing, if you are if you're interested to upgrade yourself, you are interested to adapt, there is nothing, no bar anywhere for you. So if somebody is not trying, there is a great difficult times coming for them. There is an important scope, and its scope has to be exploited. It has to be adopted, and then everything is going to be quite smooth. If you go ahead with NEP 2020, even it promotes active pedagogy according to it, and the holistic development and experiential learning. So many things they are always planning. They are already planning, and by 2030 they are even trying to create a system where even the teachers, if they want to get into teaching, they have to go 4 years for a BA development as well. So you see, even government is thinking of the future. So why not we teachers should think about the future? You should be more adaptable. You should be more more into it and try to upgrade yourself. That is the only method left. So it's learning, unlearning, and learning. This concept comes up, and you see that you have to follow this concept. Otherwise, there is no scope for a teacher who is not trying to upgrade itself. Yeah, there may
Very
be
well
some.
said.
There may
Very
be
well
some.
said, sir.
Yeah.
If you want to present anything, maybe there is a co-host right which has been given to you, so you can present. So let me pause here with you and let me come to Sreshthita to answer one question. In the meanwhile, you can put forward the things which you would like to share. Sreshthita, my question to you is, since you will be talking about redefining the role of an educator, here I want to ask, how are you addressing the passive student? Because in a class of 40 students or 30 students, in case if teacher is not able to grab the attention of the students, there are multiple tools in the live class that you can actually talk to. Either you can make the student stand up, or you can ask the student to flip the desk, or you may even throw a small chalk on towards the person stating that, wake up guys, you are in my class. But whereas you are on the online thing, it is instructional strategy which would work it out. So I would like to know from you that what are the tools, or what is the kind of strategy which you would use to make the students stand up and to make the students understand the concept of education in a way that they can actually students that they can complete the final assessment. Srishita.
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
Srishita.
So,
Can you hear me?
yeah, yes, I can hear you. I truly believe that practical examples are the best option to make students understand and calculate, whether they are from urban or rural, because to make the concept very clear, especially when we are already in a virtual platform, we need to blend in our narrative subjects because they are topic with the other conceptual subjects. Like in English, if you take, we are having literature chapters. So instead of just blabbering the text, if we make the learners understand with some related animation, documentaries, live instances, it's far more apparent and they can grasp the context very easily and smoothly. And this I have been doing it continuously so long years, and even now, even in this virtual platform, I'm doing so. So they will start framing questions and they will try to pull in their own experiences. The same thing you can do it when you're making them study with political science, sociology, because you can see the reality, they can understand it better, they can mingle it up with the coinciding truth. So at least their brain should work in such a fashion that they themselves will invoke question and ease out with the solution, and they will never forget that what exactly they have learned. So in my area, in my school Calorx, where I have seen that the teachers, basically this pre-primary teachers also have seen, when they are trying to show any object or creature whatever they are making, they have tried to create a space with a positive gesture and appraising of the topic. So I believe that when your documentaries, your practical stories, you merge up with your subject topics along with mythological touch if it is being required. Because we are, especially now, we are all being muzzled up with health issues, network issues, technical glitches, parents discouraged. So there are few of the learners, like sir just now added up, there are seriously few learners who waits long and eagerly to do our classes with enthusiasm and zeal. So wherever it is, it's rural or in urban, in spite of all odds. So my mission, if you ask about that, how I am trying to make it, so it is because of the gesture which is very positive. It should be enriched with profound knowledge of that particular topic and subject, not only your discussion, your modulation of word. So here I believe what I myself I am trying to make a change of it, that children should be educated. I feel, or it is my mission, that I want to make the children educated so they become an endowment for the society, not just trained pupils whose convocations are not clear. So it should be simple methods conjoining different aspirations from different subjects, continuous be in learning mode, and make a very clear image, a subtle combination or a conception of what exactly you are speaking. So here, I believe that every day is a special day, and it depends on you how you are actually making up to. The school where I work on, it not only represents
Srishthita, I'll
in a
come to you
dignified
with the
manner.
yeah, Srishthita. Here, I'll ask you to pause for a while and let me go back
Sure.
to Mr. Mishra and ask him, Mr. Mishra, are you there with me?
Yeah, yeah, man. I'm there.
Okay, so lecture and test models of the learning has failed the challenges to the student to practice the informal learning thing. So now informal learning is more on an asynchronous as well as synchronous thing. And flipped classroom, there are multiple, concepts that are running through. I would like you to actually help us to go through both these methods and what are the things that are available as a tools for the fellow teachers which you would like to showcase.
Right, ma'am. So, it's basically in case even we are not, having specialized technical, steps with us, or we don't have any technology for specialized technology to go along with this, this synchronized and asynchronized system of education. I'll just have show you some of the activities which actually incorporates them. So here it's a small presentation which I would like to present, and I hope it is visible.
Yes.
Right. All right. So it's all about strategies to improve participation of the children in your virtual classroom, because these days it's what's an issue coming up is you may be very active in online classes, but what about the children, those whom you are dealing with? Some of them are very active. They may be raising their hand. They may be coming to the videos every now and then, and but some of them are very passive, and some of them even they feel shy to come up and speak something or put up certain thing in front of you. So I've got some methods, some strategies to deal with them. So prior to it, it's important to know the challenges in some challenges in making the students to participate actively in online classes. The challenge number one says uh, it's very difficult for the kids to make them participate in online classes, because sometimes you'll find these kids in the form of a square box on your screen, and sometimes the screen goes blank, and sometimes they are sitting like dumb, and the picture is there, you don't know what they are doing. In spite of asking them to come onto the screen and speak something, they hardly do. So there should be some method where we can make them happen. Similarly, confusion regarding when to respond to the query. This is very important, a point where the child is absolutely confused when to raise their hand and when to speak. And by the time he tries, the hour gets over or the time gets over. Online discussion can hinder due to poor access to the technology and by privacy concern. This is very much applicable in rural areas, especially those areas where the connectivity is not that much good, and sometimes it happens. Similarly, submitting work. So the most easiest method, what the teacher feels and the child feels, that let us send the assignments and other work through email. Now, email has got the very good feature that you can share it and then it can come back to the teacher. So that means you never know whether it's a child's effort or a group children's effort. So it's very important to know what exactly and how to tackle. Similarly, there are strategies to boost students' participation during online learning. My point of view is that you better amalgamate, you better collaborate, both synchronize and asynchronize method of teaching, which can definitely going to bring laurels and fruitful result for coming up time period. Such techniques should allow students to identify their mistakes and have space to correct them as well. So this is very important. Techniques should be involved. Such techniques should be involved where the child should participate, and in participation, it's obvious the child is going to make mistake, and there should be some method where the child should learn from the mistake. So that's how the child learning takes place. Most focus on all the students, including those with disrupt schedules. There are some children, those who couldn't get into the regular schedule because of the family issues, or maybe because of internet connectivity, or maybe because there may be some issues back at home, which doesn't allow them to be regular on online classes. So how to tackle them, and must engage the students who are categorized as quiet or introvert type. So children, they don't want to speak. There are certain children that don't want to speak. They are very introvert. They require a lot of calling finally they come up and then the answer is not satisfactory. So how do we deal with them? So my method basically is this: synchronized and asynchronized methods. I have categorized them, and I have got few activities also involved here. So the first one is synchronous. In what we can mention is pondering or discussing on question prior to the scheduled class. Now this is very interesting. But the limitation to this is that you cannot have it on regular schedule. It could be either fortnightly, or it could be depending upon the school's timetable, or the lessons what the school has decided. So it could be only a fortnightly activities where a proper schedule of all the subjects could be created. And what could be done is that a teacher whose day comes, like if it is history period, a history turn in this activity. So what I'll do, I'll create two classes simultaneously, online classes simultaneously. The first class where I leave the children with certain topics absolutely free and discussing among themselves, and I'll be there available as a passive learner, and with a pen and paper keeping noting down which child is actually is particularly answering the question, or what exactly the child is putting up, and which child is silent, and which child is producing what type of, and wherever is it necessary, if they need reinforcement, interference from my side, I'm there to help them. So after that period gets over, the second in continuation, which is live classroom, we will be discussing everything in detail, which child has discussed what, and that's how we can assist them. While going on informal talk, when they were going to informal talk, we can easily keep an eye on those kids, those who are absolutely silent in regular class. So this is how we can come to know that even a child who is not speaking in regular class, or is introvert type of child in regular class, can also be judged and can be found doing something. Second is using chat to check for understanding. So this is regularly followed in almost all the schools, I feel, where through Zoom chat or through Google chat, the child, they keep on posting their responses. But yes, here the responses should be made quite interesting, like some emojis could be used, thumbs up, thumbs down, or some sort of like a very interesting question could be created, which the child answers in a very comic and humorous way. So that actually creates the interest, and that actually brings us to know that yes, if the child is not speaking, the child can write, and whether the concept is clear or not. So this is how the synchronous way of second point can be cleared. Now flip your classroom to stimulate deeper discussion. Now here we need breakout rooms. So what is required here is like, this is basically a type of activity where both synchronous and asynchronous activity has to be amalgamated. What have to be done is like one day prior in the evening, like for example, I have got my period tomorrow, history. So if one day prior to that, in the evening, I'll post a video, and then I'll ask them to go through the video or a question, whatever I would like to forward to them. And then I'll ask them to read the question or go through the video and create a type of, something in their mind, which will be given a special framework when live class will be there next day. So the next day when the live class happens, I'll provide them a framework, and then I'll group them into breakout rooms. So once they will be there in the breakout rooms, they will be discussing on that framework, and finally we'll reaching to a conclusion where I am there to look and see what exactly they are doing in that room individually, because they feel the teacher is not there. They will be more free, and they will be interacting on a particular topic or a particular concept more freely. That actually brings out their freedom, their approach towards certain topics. Now the last one in synchronous, which I have put, is think, write, and share. So here the teacher is basically going to ask the children to to search for a painting or some sort of sketch, which is basically a relation based picture, and then putting up then the next day when the child comes up to the live class. So what is to be done is that the child is being asked and been thrown with certain question. What did you gain? What did you find different in the picture? How are you going to change the scenario if you'll be there, etc. Such type of questions will make the child to think and be more industrious in writing and coming up with some solutions, which is going to be very helpful for the child in future while making decisions and working for their life alone in future. So this is all synchronous. We come to asynchronous. Now this is something which we generally do it after class, or we give them certain work in the for later time period, and they can sit and go through it, and then they can put up their review, and which could be reached to us with proper period gap of time. So asynchronous is seeing and critiquing. The first one is seeing and critiquing peer work through picture gallery. Now here, what happens exactly is the teacher basically gives a virtual walk through the gallery of a project of a group, and then asks the other group students to give their comment on that. So after going through, like after virtual walk through the gallery of a particular project, other group is watching that project and learning and extracting some point from that. Later on, screencast, they show their own project, and then they answer few questions which the teacher throws on them. Question number one: what did you gain from others' project? Which point you want to involve in your own project? So such questions actually helps the child to go more closer to the peer learning, and they become more and more involved. Especially those children, those who are not ready to be active in their live session, there they will be quite active and giving their opinions and discussions, which is very essential for learning, ongoing learning. Brainstorming online here. Like activities like you can create slides and Google Docs one day prior to the kids, send them. They are supposed to answer a question in that Google Doc, whatever you have shared. After answering their question, they are going to give the comments on others' question. So that creates a atmosphere of same classroom, where even the child who feels like he's not a part of that will be feeling a part of a classroom. So this is all if these activities, they definitely help a child's involvement, whether child is interested or not, definitely going to come and involve himself or herself, and going to help herself in all spheres. I have just collected few of the websites which are providing professional development for the teachers. We all know about Diksha and Pathshala, Swayamprabha, and TV channels, etc. There are others also like Coursera, OpenLearn. They are providing free online professional development for the teachers. Anytime they can log in into it and they can get themselves professionally developed. So this is it, Sunda ma'am. I try to clarify the synchronous asynchronous activities. And
Thank you so much, sir. That was really wonderful because we often talk about. So you can unshare your screen so that we are fully visible to the people. That was really beautiful, sir, because we talk about these things, but the basics or the fundamentals sometimes are not clear, and we go with the jargons. Sometimes the basic knowledge is equally important than what we are speaking here. Now, let me come to Sreshthita. Sreshthita, I have an important question for you. You know, as an English teacher, as a subject pol science teacher, you might have observed that when you are speaking to the students in during the online classroom, as already you have touched upon the passive learning things, and Mr. Sumesh has already spoken about that. How can we do a professional development of things? Now, how are you managing the emotional, psychological, and the physical gap that is coming between you and your students? Mr. Mishra has very clearly told about that even if a student who is not active, we are able to manage. But I would like to know from you that how are you curbing this gap? Because there is a space which comes, even if, to be very upfront, if we are in the office and we are not able to talk to our kid or maybe to a friend or to a colleague with whom we are working, there is a space which comes, and वो थोड़ी देर के बाद वो लगता है वो फोन करे या मैं फोन करूं. ठीक है, पेरेंट्स के साथ भी ऐसे ही होता है, बच्चों के साथ भी होता है, स्पाउस के साथ भी होता है. And you are a fraternity who is, in a class you are managing somewhere around close to 30 plus students in one go. And I'm sure basically every one of you is teaching at least 2 to 3 class. So 120 students, I can imagine. How are you curbing that space, emotional and the psychological space? If you can share some of your best practices.
Sure, ma'am. I'll take the help of mythology here, because I think I want to give an example of Ekalavya. Our Indian culture, mythology are actually being furnished with such richness and goodness of knowledge. Like, we have to become that particular mentor. We can have different pedagogies, we can have different associations with ourselves, but we have to be that particular mentor where our positivity is being surmounting in every single lecture. Your modulation, your speculative design thinking technique where Sir just now only he shared about empathizing, defining, ideating, then prototyping, then testing each and everything. Where if any sort of glitches, snafus, whatever are being created for this present socio-economical, technical problems, whatever is being there, it should not be hindering the learner's educative approach. We have to invoke their hunger about that concept. So topic should be that first priority. And I myself feel that we have to create that kind of a gesture, that bonding, that they will pull in that interest with a grace. As I said, that I normally deal with senior most students where their inquisitiveness are really related with this impending society, where their social problems, contrast of ideologies, fragments of disturbed backgrounds are being there and added up with this prevailing pendulum. So whatever they are studying, of course, that would have been a far different when it would have been in the physical classroom, where the repercussions are far more tangible and clear. But Sir also just now mentioned that about emojis. Yeah, for our repercussions we have to use emojis. But I think when our topic are being collided, or they are being mingled up very nicely with the other topics, then they will sip in with the questions and along with their solution, and they are going to implement in their own life. And believe me, I have been doing it, and it is a success. I would like to access one simple example of it. Very some couple 1 month before only, we had some few days before only, sorry to say, we had Teachers Day. That account, I saw it when I was chipping in into the classes through virtual platform. I was finding that my children are playing the role of the teacher, and they were managing with Hindi, with mythology, Hindi with history. They were managing English with science, geography with physics. So this is what is the relevancy. So history is a myth or real. If you want to bond it, you have to check in for the books. You have to get yourself much more learned. You have to go for the explorers of the past. You need to understand about Aryabhata. You need to read about those travelogues. You have to get your valuable information. You have to think out of the box. It's not only about the syllabus of the topic what the students will learn, but you have to make your topic being decorated with innumerable stories of culture, traditions, stories, myths, practical examples. Just exactly what our parents used to do. If you do remember, all of us during our childhood, we used to had this. Mother used to give us bedtime stories, and we used to listen it eagerly. The same thing had happened with me also, and even now also I'm trying to do it. It's not an easy task, because nowadays students are getting, they can surf on with the internet, they can get whatever they want to, and to gulp them with the first topic, what exactly should have their impulse move in, that you have to get yourself prepared more. I think we have to be far more proactive than whatever we wear. So then only our gestures, if it is being perpetuated, then only it is being possible. Otherwise, it's not possible. Whatever we do, whatever the techniques we apply.
Very well said, Sreshthita. And bringing mythology with the subject is a real good thing. I believe Mr. Patnaik, Devadatt Patnaik, he actually brings such a topic, who's a motivational trainer from Mumbai, who brings mythology into the classrooms, that how can we inculcate that. I personally believe that, we all are, some way subject of the Bhagavad Gita only. And really, while we are proceeding to this way, I would like to ask Mr. Mishra, there is a gap between the idea of differentiated and personalized introduction and the technologies that make it happen. So I would like to invite your views on to the K-12 teachers to see that there is a personalized learning need which is there, that they don't have time for the using the tools. And here I also have a different apprehension that nowadays teachers are, as it is, they're struggling to come into the online platform, teach them, teach them effectively, ensure that they are engaging. On top of that, Shrestha, you have already bought something on the mythology, that some stories or something has to be done. And Mr. Mishra, you in the previous step you said that I send a video to the student who is who has to be taught about the history or whatever the topic that you're teaching, going to teach tomorrow. Don't you think the me time of the students have somewhere been compromised? So I would like all the people who are viewing us on the YouTube to write the solution to it, that how can you curb that me time for the students as well as for the teacher. In the meanwhile, let me go to Mr. Mishra and ask your views on the K-12 teachers so that they can see the personalized learning. Mr. Mishra.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, I have worked a lot on that, and I came to a conclusion that it's not every time you need a lot of investment in, hardware or in application, purchasing application. It's sometimes, some skill could be managed through your regular schedule as well. See, uh, there is a technical issue, and there is something which actually definitely hinders when it comes for personalized studies or individual studies or differentiated studies. But then technique can never be a hinder against what you want to say. Like, for example, I'll give you one example. Looks like personalization is more sustainable if the student play a role in shaping their own experiences. So secondly, if you want to have a scalable and sustainable personalized learning environment, which actually maximizes the power and potential of individual and strengthens interpersonal connections, you see that this doesn't require any special effort to be laid. Whatever you're doing every day in the classroom, you have to just mold it a bit, and it could be brought into the practice. If you talk about social and emotional skill, it's also a part of personalized learning, where in the word you need a technical help for that. You don't need any technical help. What is required is you need to be proactive in teaching social and emotional skills. What we do is we need to teach the students that how to make the choices, and how to shape their experience autonomously. This autonomous decision making allows them to play a significant role in the act of personalizing their own learning. So basically, what is required is just activities which could be imbibed in your regular day-to-day teaching. So there won't be any extra time required for it. It's like, for example, I give you a activities example. If for example, being a biology teacher or science teacher, I ask my children to let us go ahead and do some project work to plant some sapling, for example. So there should be a proper routine, and systemized chart should be made, in which what materials are required, what task is to be laid, if there will be some reboundings from mistake, how will you cater that? So all these charts could be made, all these routines could be created, and then the teacher can, what the teacher can do himself, can come up and work as a model, and let the child understand these are the way to implant the seed, and saplings would be managed, and etc. Then the teacher can ask other child, and the other follows. So what is happening here, the teacher is basically trying to teach the routinal efforts laid, which definitely is going to help them in their future skills, future development, once they will be there for autonomous decision making time period, when they will grow up, when they are going for future making. There they will be required an autonomous decision making. Is very will be required. So there they can at least use this skill, and then easily so basically, what my point of view is that you need not to have a special time period for it, or any expensive hardware for it. There are certain skills which you can imbibe among the children, that could be a part of personalized learning, and this is how you can tackle these problems which you spoken in that challenge.
Very well said, sir. As the time is running short, Sreshthita, my question to you would be: today's world is awash of information with the multitude of print and the electronic sources. So now, to truly professionalize your teaching, how are you differentiating the roles of a teacher, and what are the strategies that you are adopting to adopt?
I once read somewhere the best teacher are those who show you where to look but don't tell you what to see. So I'll straight away go to my technique. This is my technique. I would have shared this slide, but is it visible? This is
Yes.
my technique. Yes, it is my technique. It is, I have named it as eulogize. I have named it as eulogize, where E is being standing for extolling the concept, where U is being for upgrading your knowledge, means not only your children, but you yourself. L for learning mode, of course, learning and not learning, but always be on a learning mode so that you will learn from even from a small child. So that practical examples, again, it is becoming, and your positive gestures. O standing for orientation, where I always do it, and I believe that modulation of the concept with the different other subjects is being very, very essential and necessity of this particular time. Whatever we do, whatever we are doing, we are not robots. Robots can do whatever you want, but teachers are having emotions. That's why physical classes are always a blessed one. I guess all of us are missing our own classes, and if we think about our own self, I think all of us will agree to it that orientation is a must. Where I said just now a couple of minutes before only that geography you can mingle it up with physics if you want to make it possible to make them study about Antarctica. So it is very important. So climate is being essential, your history is being essential, your English is being essential. So everywhere this modulation is being very, very a necessity. G for growing interest by discussion, just like sir also added up. Even I also will be doing the same, that we need to grow up their interest by discussion, ideas, and promulgation. Why I did this is I wanted to show that this is also being possible. We can share it, and I would have shared the screen, but I did this. This is the most primitive method, where even in our BA or during our own classes, we used to do this. This is the practical example. So today was a platform where I tried to show it that this way can also your acronyms can be shown. Coming to I, it is ideating, where let the students, the learners, make their own ideas, because whatever the concept you are giving it to them, so that their concept be clear and they can speak or they can write. Until and unless the conception is clear, how can you make it possible that they will be sitting in a place, or they will be ideating, or they can do KWLH or think, parent, share, until and unless the conception is clear. So we have to first make the conception clear. So for that, our conception needs to be very clear. That's why I said we have to always be on a learning mode. Next, Z, where zeal is a very important. We have to put up that enthusiasm, that zeal, that conception, that they start questioning and they themselves ease out with a solution. My method, as I said, that I want to make my students educated, not trained. I want them to find out their own questions and find out their own solution, so that they initiate it in their own life. And last but not the least, that is to egress. Egress means to move upon or move ahead. This is to initiate your learning and your understanding throughout your own life. For me, a teacher should always be on a learning mode, updated about the surroundings, about their own culture, tradition, changes, and of course about the subject related information. Where you can, as I said, the children now easily can surf online and find information. There, a teacher who handles the senior most or the middle group learners needs to be far more proactive about their topic. As I said, Google, YouTube, different reference book are a continuous help for the students. So there are exuding knowledge about the context is the only saver. Else the learners will lose interest. The younger generation, as you know, are very much hasty. So many a times to pace down and to drape them to an impetuous learning, our deliberation speech content becomes very important. So before they pick up any move, we have to give them the gun of unknown facts about the topic and conjure them about the facts which possibly they will look and intrigue them. So here I
Thank
just want to
you.
quote, 1 minute, ma'am. Here I just want to quote Kalam sir's words, that the purpose of education is to make good human beings with skill and expertise. And that is only being possible, that enlightened human beings can only be created by the teachers. Yes, ma'am.
Very well said. A beautiful, acronym that you have shared. I would request you to click and share it so that with all the education fraternity who are watching us right now, we can share it with all of them. With this, before Kavita just joins me and shares the vote of thanks and the additional information, I would like both of you to wrap up the session, that what you want the viewers who are watching you should take away. Maybe in 50 words or in 100 words, if you can wrap up. So let me go to Mr. Mishra first.
I'm going through this pandemic stage. I mean, we can conclude that pandemic has actually acted as a catalyst, which has really increased the pace of education, like educational transformation. Generally, people believe that it's a hurdle, but then I believe that actually it transformed Indian educational part as far as the teachers are concerned. And personally, I feel that I got better student teaching experiences than I had it in the past. So education is all about being flexible, right? as educator, things are constantly evolving. Technology is changing, and times are changing. So it's really important that that we should be flexible. Innovation are what words I have created. Innovation, adoption, willingness, and expression are going to be four major skills to survive and progress in educational field. So please have have a pondering view on that and grow and please excel. That's what is only thing left. There is no other option for any teacher but to excel, and excelling can only be can only happen once you innovate, adopt, and you should have willingness to learn and should express among the students. So that's from my side.
Thank you, sir. Sreshthita, your views?
Absolutely, I do admit whatever Sir said. The main objective of treating it is not just to give explanation, but to knock at the doors of mind. I think Einstein words is a better which suits out here. So every day we are learning about different applications, system upgradation, possibly making home science combining with rocket science. But everywhere, actually, we are exalting our knowledge and trying to bridge the gap of this physical approach, the original normal phase of education through online means. So we have to update ourselves, we have to innovate ourselves, then only with that positive gesture, of course, and combining with our own methods, whatever the methods we can make it possible in this probable situation, and convincing them and then aggressive. Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful, beautiful. Both of you have really spoken well about the topic. That's the where the veterans actually matter a lot. Kavita is already here. That means there is something which is on the time which she has to mention. So all over to you, Kavita, now.
And it is wonderful to hear two veterans talking, and the experience speaks with that. The one thing that you both agree that teachers have to be proactive in this technologically advanced and ever changing globe. The rate of change and the pace of change is really fast, and the teachers who are proactive, adaptive, and competitive with the open mind, they are going to really do wonders for the students. They are going to be, really, I would say, flag bearer of the true education. That is, the students are ready for the 21st century skills. They are, they can take decision, they can make choices, they can solve the problems, and at the same time, stay globally relevant and competitive. That's the motto of the whole education need to be, and we all are working together. And thank you for sharing your insight, and you both of you sharing your insight, because a lot of people would have got a different perspective, how they, as a teacher, how you should see, because we should not see that, yes, we are the teachers, we are here to teach. I think that thought need to be changed. We are the teachers. We need to be proactive in learning first, relearning first, and then teaching it. That's the motto should be. Wonderful to have you. And with that, I like to share with all the audience, all the teachers who are there with us. We had, September, we had Teachers Day in India, and on 5th October, we are having a World Teachers Day. It has been celebrated throughout the world to salute the teachers for their efforts, as they are shaping the youth, they are shaping the future of any country or any family. So, here the youngster entrepreneur nexus is bringing out this opportunity for the students to nominate their teachers for their efforts, and we all always have some gratitude for our teachers, somewhere those who have impacted us or changed the way we think or our direction in the life. So if you have something like that in your mind, do join. Sunanda will be sharing the link for this. We'll be sharing on YouTube also. You can share it among your students in your schools, so that it's the biggest, I think, a gift a teacher can have from a student, that they are being, the gratitude is paid for the efforts they are putting, the kind of I think the connection, the student teachers have a lot of connection and personal connect with the student, and they are the only apart from parents, they are the only people who are very happy to see their students thrive and excel in the life. This otherwise everyone is competing. Parents and teachers, they always want their students to do better than them. So that's a tribute to them. And yes, Shrishthita and Sumeshji, thank you for sharing your insight. Is a small gratitude from us for sharing your insight and giving the practical aspect of it, the practices that you are doing it. Shrishthita, this is from our side, a token of love and appreciation
Thank you
for
so
coming
much.
here, giving your time and sharing your insight with all the education fraternity. And we have some parents also, they are also seeing to understand the kind of changes that are coming in the education system. So Nanda, we have some registration from parents, right? So
Yes, we do have.
they are actively seeing it, and I think it's a sense of appreciation to understand the kind of efforts teachers, the schools, institutions are putting for the better future of the students. And this is a small token of appreciation and love, Subeshri, from our side, for sharing your insight. Thank you for being with us. It is wonderful having you. And tomorrow again, we'll be coming at 3 with another 4 set of speakers, 2 at 3 o'clock and 2 at 4 o'clock. And they will be coming and sharing their perspective, because every time educators come, we always have, one different perspective of the same aspect that we can take. And we are also learning in this process, how even we can make learning from the teachers to understand how we can make even our sessions more interactive and more engaging with the audience. So Nanda, you like to convey anything about parting remarks?
Yes, the only parting remark is let's observe the World Teachers Day in a very beautiful manner. We have already observed it on 5th of September as a Teachers Day, but showcasing yourself in front of the world as world teachers would also be participating in this. So it's a beautiful initiative by Youngster Entrepreneur Nexus. Please do circulate this form. I shall be ensuring that we are circulating this form to people who are known to us, and of course to the 19,500 schools that are connected with us, so that multiple teachers can come. And of course, it has already gone to Qatar and Doha and other places where people can participate. So, guys, this is the time that you have to showcase to all the young students. You have to showcase that who is the best teacher and why are you nominating that teacher. So that's a beautiful gesture that you can give, and all it comes with no cost. The only time that you have to share is to fill up that form and share it with the people. So that's the only urge to you, and beautiful way of articulating your thoughts, Mr. Sumesh and Srishtita. It was really wonderful to have you with us in the forum. If time would not have been a constraint, we would have prolonged our discussion to a long extent. With this, we say bye for today's session, and we'll come back to you tomorrow again at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock respectively with different set of teachers. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Kavita ma'am. Thank you,
Thank
Sunita
you.
ma'am.
Pleasure to have you.
Pleasure to be here and discussing the things. I sincerely appreciate Career Beacon team's effort. They are really remarkable, really commendable job you're
Absolutely.
putting up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.